And welcome to another Round the Rotary with me, your host, J.P. Warren, and we got a little special episode today for y'all out there. We got two members of the Texas A&M SPE group right now, but before we start this podcast, I have to say that Round the Rotary podcast is brought to you by Petroleum Consultants. CPC specializes in project engineering and well site supervision in all disciplines of the oil and gas industry. Contact us through www.capitalpetroleumconsultants.com to see what CPC can do for you today. Yeah?
Nice.
So it's y'all's first podcast, huh?
First one.
Yep, first one ever.
I know, it's like, I think it's like my 46th, and I still dislike
I like the first one, yeah.
Oh, I gotta like rank myself up. So anyway, everyone listening, I just want to introduce who we have right now in the studio. We have Dean Murphy, sitting to my right, the Texas A&M SPE president of 2020 and through 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Keaton Upshaw, Texas A&M vice president, external vice president. Is that right?
Either one.
Which one do you go by?
VPE, so VP.
There you go. We got Keaton Upshaw, VPE of Texas A&M SPE for class of 2021 as well. So guys, first off, thank you for joining me in the studio. Like, the point of this podcast, I feel right now with everything going on in the industry right now, obviously there's what y'all are. First off, what are y'all seeing right now based on everything, like y'all, the resources out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess first off, again, thank you so much for having us.
No. Thank you. Thank you. Enough of that. Enough of the formalities.
No more thank yous.
No more thank you.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you, guy. Okay?
Yeah, we're avid listeners of podcasts, so it's just cool to finally be a part of one. I guess as far as what we're seeing, I'll speak kind of broadly for our class, I guess. This is a record-breaking, downturn, with negative oil prices and all that. So we're experiencing basically zero job availability.
Yeah.
And I think our last career fair we had probably 1 to maybe 3 jobs available. I think it was Conoco and then Chevron were pretty much the only ones hiring full time.
So there's like kind of like you go to these career fairs and there's really not much out there. So you're seeing that. Yeah. You're seeing not a lot of jobs being offered right now. What are you seeing?
A lot of uncertainty with, especially from the student side. Just being, a student ourselves, we're at the forefront of that because we're, vice president and president of SPE. We're supposed to be, up there and involved with our organization and our school. But so we try to be the forefront of that and try to keep people motivated as much as we can, even though we have the same feelings they have.
That's tough. And so everyone listen, I brought them in here because I think first off it's beneficial for not just people that are in the oil and gas industry right now to understand kind of what's going on to people that are coming into the oil and gas industry, but it's also I think it's going to benefit y'all because hopefully we talk about some stuff that maybe people. So there's like two sides of the fence right now. People, y'all that are still in school, kind of about to graduate, about to come in the oil and gas industry, welcome. And there's the other side of things where people have been in the oil and gas industry that are kind of holding on to their jobs and kind of staying there. So I kind of wanted this to kind of be an avenue for people on both sides of the fence to kind of hear what's going on, because I think right now there's so much uncertainty, as you said. People are nervous, people are scared. I'm not sure if the effort is there to be advocates or communicate to people that are about to come in the industry. So, guys, thank y'all for being here. Don't say thank you. Thank y'all for being here, and I'm really looking forward to this because I want to kind of create a little bridge here, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So, I guess let's get this kicked off. So, let's start off with you, Dean. Why in the hell the oil field? Especially right now.
That's a great question. I ask myself that every day recently.
Do you regret your decision?
No, God no.
Okay,
definitely not. So I got my start in I guess engineering first. When I was in high school, I took a lot of math and science classes. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed those, and I was successful in those. And so I kind of figured, I'd probably be going down this kind of the STEM career path, whether that be engineering or something similar.
Right.
And then started talking with my dad. He worked for a civil engineering firm at the time. And he had some friends that were in oil and gas. He was making frac sand terminals with his company that he was working at. And so there were some guys from Oxy that I talked to, a guy named Philip. And after talking to him, I mean, he was really trying to sell me on A&M and petroleum engineering. He said, man, if you like math and science, you want to be an engineer, you got to go to
So
A&M.
You're getting this told to you when you're 18 years old.
Yeah, I think I
Like
was actually
17.
16 at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like my junior.
Okay.
It's
year
going
or
over the
something.
head. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time he was going off without his job.
Yep,
and
yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's so many basins out there.
Yeah. So it was just a cool experience being able to talk to him, and I mean he completely sold me.
Well, what
Mhm.
what did he sell you on?
For sure, yeah. So he went and he kind of went through his day to day. He was
Okay.
a drilling engineer,
Okay.
and kind of hearing his thought process behind his job day to day. You know, obviously every day on the drilling rig is different. You know,
Right.
I've had internships and be able to send some of that now, so I can definitely see what he was talking about now. But being able to use the data that you're getting from the rig and being able to kind of come up with a story in your head of what's going on downhole, 2 miles beneath you or something like that.
That
It's
blows my mind.
yeah.
To
So
this day.
Still,
Yeah.
hearing that is just like that would be
It's
awesome
still.
to get into that.
That
So
So
for
yeah.
me.
So this the aspect of actually, like, I guess the engineering side of things, being able to
Mhm.
see things 2 miles,
yeah.
that you can't see, that you kind of have to feel your way around because you're
Exactly.
kind of guessing on data and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So that kind of entices you to kind of go in the oil field, pursue a petroleum engineer degree.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what got me into it at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And why'd you stay?
That's a good
Or are
question.
you stuck?
A little bit of both.
You know what? I think we're all stuck right now.
Yeah,
So
right.
let's just keep on plowing forward.
Yeah. No, but just being involved in A&M in general and meeting people and having great mentors
Yeah.
definitely kept me really involved.
So do you have mentors like in the school, or there is actual company mentorship?
I would say both.
Okay.
I'd say both for sure. When I got started my freshman year, I really wanted to get started early, so I jumped into some of the petroleum orgs, American Association of Drilling Engineers,
Yeah.
Society of Petroleum Engineers, those. And I kind of got on some committees and was putting together events just so I would have a better idea
Right.
of what I was getting myself into. Because at A&M, you apply to a major your freshman year, so I wanted to know for sure, like, do you like petroleum engineering before I kind of jumped into it and applied for it.
So okay. All right. What about you, Keaton?
Oh, kind of the similar lines as Dean. I was always good at math, science. I really enjoyed physics.
Okay.
And, my physics teacher was actually a chemical engineer by trade,
All right.
and she retired and decided to go to teaching, and she was really good at it, really convincing. Made me enjoy engineering just in general, but I knew I wanted to do something involved with energy,
Yeah.
and like we talked about
Well,
earlier.
why? Well, why?
Because we all need it. It's something we need. Petroleum is probably the most uncertain one, I feel like, because like we were just talking about, you're literally drilling, below the ground, you can't see anything,
Yeah.
don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it exciting. Having those unknowns just gives you more of an edge and makes you want to, figure those problems out.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she's the one that I guess encouraged me and gave me that mindset of you can tackle a problem if you put your mindset to it and what you learn to it, and
Yeah.
use the help of those around you. So that was probably the main reason I joined engineering in general.
Okay.
But petroleum was, I guess, the energy aspect of it.
So where'd you grow up at?
Southeast Texas. I'm from around the Beaumont area.
Okay. Yeah.
So, bunch of refineries, bunch of plants, chemical plants.
All right.
Actually worked in a chemical plant after freshman year. So I worked as a turnaround helper in the field, and we were just performing turnaround on and performing like maintenance
Okay.
on a Huntsman plant, and that gave me like an even better experience. It's more the chemical side of it, but
Right.
it's the downstream part of it, and it kind of helps you understand where oil goes from the upstream to the downstream. I think
So-
it just wrapped it up as a whole.
So what brings you to I mean, you have that mentor. Yeah. By the way, I love how everyone I talk to on this podcast, they always have that one person that kind of spoke to them.
Spoke to them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of encouraged them. Like, hey, I know
Mhm.
I don't really know anything about this, but you should do this.
Yeah.
Trust me. Like, there's always that one mentor that I'm hearing from you, that I hear from previous guests as well, which is, and that's something to take home. Like, no matter who you're talking to, I mean, you might be that one person. You might be that one mentor.
Exactly.
You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty interesting too. So what's keeping you? I guess why'd you choose petroleum? Because everyone has a need for energy, and you're like, it's the most stable thing out there, oil and gas.
Yeah, I don't think it's stable right now,
Yeah,
but
I don't know if I'd quite say stable.
it's not stable, but I'm someone who's always been, I like consistency.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my weaknesses, actually. So I think I wanted to do something that wasn't as consistent.
Okay.
And that's what this industry is, obviously.
That is this industry,
So,
unfortunately.
I just figured that would make me, a better engineer, a better person overall. So that's one of the main reasons I chose it, honestly.
Okay, well, hey, I kind of getting a little background about y'all before we kind of get into the topics I want to discuss. Tell me about y'all's internships or experience in, I guess, in the oil and gas industry. I know that y'all have had previous internships with some operators and all that stuff. Why don't you just kind of give us the elevator spiel on that real quick?
Yeah, sure, I'll go ahead. So last summer 2019, before all this happened, I interned with Apache Corporation.
Okay. Out of Houston?
I was located in an old oil field up in Levelland, Texas, by Lubbock.
Okay.
So I was up in there. I was working at the Levelland field, their unit up there.
What are you doing up there?
Just working as a production foreman, working with the production foreman, basically. Just day-to-day operations, performing maintenance on jack pumps and stuff like that.
Was that your first internship in the oil and gas industry?
It was.
What did you think?
It was a lot. It was a lot of information.
Not to take in, yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
take
did you have any idea? I mean, did the expectations meet the reality? You know what I mean? Like, that's your first exposure to the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
Real exposure besides outside of academia, right?
I think it exceeded it for sure. Because, we were learning so much stuff that's the semester before. You're learning all these different things in your academic career, but you don't really know how it applies until you get to the field. And once you get to the field, it's a lot more than what they actually teach you.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot more components that go into, figuring out problems. And because they kind of simplify it and dumb it down in school. But once you get out there, it's kind of a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of aspects that you have to
So
take
do you
into
feel
consideration.
that, I guess, to better prepare students for going into the industry, actual real-life experience, do you feel maybe, obviously, I'm not going to ask you to change the curriculum, but do you feel like the curriculum should have some more, hey, this is going on, let's troubleshoot this? Because honestly, 99% of the engineers I talk to, half their job is troubleshooting stuff.
Exactly.
So do you feel that, that could be kind of more of a benefit to discuss kind of troubleshooting issues that occur in the field?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it would be really neat. I'm sure a few schools do this as well, but doing tours and being able to see things in person, I think is a huge piece of the education part, especially for something like oil and gas, where it's all moving parts and tools and stuff that are not as familiar.
And y'all just had a tour at Fesco,
right? Yeah, that is correct.
2 weeks ago from today, I believe.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Great company.
Yeah,
We had Justin Finley on the pod. That's what I'm writing on
Fesco,
right now.
right
Fesco right there.
I
baby.
got my cup.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Fesco cup.
Nice.
Yeah, they gave us cups when we
Well,
went.
Justin Finley, I expect some sort of kickback from plugging your company so much.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was a good experience for you. You got in the field. You actually started troubleshooting some issues.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You meet some good people out there.
That was my favorite part, honestly. Is working the summer I talked about working in the chemical plant.
Yeah.
You work with a lot of people who are like. I told them I was an engineer going to A&M, and they were like, "Oh, he's an engineer." And they would just mess with me the whole time. They would throw a wrench at me and be like, "Show me how to use it."
They didn't teach you that in college.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, "Calculate this for me" or something like that. But
dude, I remember when I was working offshore, we were changing the brakes off a drawworks, and I'm kind of getting in there and all that stuff. And we had one assistant rig manager. I don't think because I was the college kid. And all that stuff.
Exactly.
They didn't teach you how to do that in college, and I was like, no, they didn't actually. I studied marketing. They did not teach me any of this shit.
Yeah.
So no, they didn't teach me this. So bear with me a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the most beneficial parts about our industry is the people that you meet. All walks of life. You're first generation oil field, correct?
Exactly.
What about you?
Same as well.
Same as
first
well. Yeah,
generation.
me too.
Mhm.
So we're all sitting here, all Aggies, all first generation oil field. Still have no idea what we're doing.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out as we go on.
Exactly.
So Dean, tell me about your kind of your previous experience, kind of with your internships and kind of where you're at right now.
Yeah, for sure. So my freshman year, I was fortunate enough to start with Southwestern Energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
At Houston.
so they're based in Houston, but I was in the Arkansas property at the
Okay,
time. The
okay.
Arkansas base. Yeah. So They had me based in Arkansas. I was living in Conway, which was pretty nice, and then working in Damascus.
What were you doing with Southwest?
So we were the position they used to have. I'm not sure if they're still really doing it since they've sold the Arkansas piece so far, but or as of late. But basically, it was a production roustabout kind of position.
Okay.
Where you rotate. I believe it was like every week or every 2 weeks you rotate through a different group. So 1 week you might be going out with plunger installs. The next week you might be going out and setting up compressors and stuff like that. And then the next day you might be with the roustabouts, spray painting or putting together barbed wire fence.
So every day is different.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And you're meeting people that are different walks of life,
For sure.
different experience, different characters.
Most definitely. There were, and then in Arkansas, there were so many characters, so many just crazy stories, all the sayings that they would say in the field, and
brother, man,
all that, just hilarious.
I can't wait
stuff.
I can't wait for like 5 years from now. We'll like tag up like no, it's not just Arkansas. There's characters.
No,
There's characters
they're
everywhere in the oil field.
Everywhere for sure.
So did you enjoy that? I mean,
Most definitely. That was easily probably my favorite summer so far. Not only was I working in Arkansas, but I think that's 8 or 9 hours away from my home.
Yeah.
Working in my own apartment, and I think that was the summer I turned 18, so I was really pretty young to be doing that. And
it was like 3 years ago for me.
Being able to get a firsthand experience, kind of working a job and living independently, was I think a big part of my growth.
So was there any point in y'all's internships when you kind of like were like, oh shit, like I think I chose the wrong thing. I should have gone mechanical engineering or electrical. I mean, or is this kind of one of those things that kind of like, man, I'm. What were y'all's feelings about I guess the first stint?
So I would say it was like I said earlier, it was a lot of information.
Yeah.
So at first you're just taking it in,
Right.
And then they ask you to apply it to your project or your presentation, whatever it is. And I think that's when you begin to feel overwhelmed, if anything.
Yeah.
Is because you're given so much information and you, as an engineer, have to process it really fast and be able to apply that to a software or in the field. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, was being able to digest that information and actually apply it to a project in a 3-month period.
Which is kind of a cool experience. I mean, picking stuff up and learning and applying it. I think that's really outside the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
most definitely.
Yeah.
But you, Dean.
I mean, when I first got in there, I was obviously absorbing it all at first, and that was kind of interesting. Yeah, at first I had a little notepad. I thought I would need to take notes while I was in the field, and
I remember that.
I did that every day.
Dude,
every day.
I got to a point with my first hitch when I was working on my first tower when I was working at Noble. I actually carried it around. I was like, slicker than owl shit.
Yeah.
Slippery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was basically half my notebook, was writing down acronyms.
Same. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
And what kind of feces was that on the doorknob? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nippling up.
Yeah.
Non-pornography.
There you go.
Yeah, no. We have some weird sayings though.
No, for sure. For sure. So getting used to that was, at first I had the notepad and was kind of taking it in more of a technical perspective, I guess, because that's kind of what I was used to. But after a while, you kind of figure out it's a little bit more informal, and it's a lot more about just actual work experience. You don't have to write it down to memorize it. If you're doing it, week to week, you're going to remember it.
Right.
It's going to go to heart, basically.
So how did you get involved in, I guess, I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, both of y'all have done a lot of volunteer work. Y'all do the big events, y'all do other stuff. How did you get involved to actually take that step? Because I remember me being in college, I didn't get involved in many different organizations, but how did you take that step on, and why did you decide to get so involved in SPE, both of y'all?
Yeah. So for me, I really, really wanted to get a kind of a head start, and also again, like I mentioned earlier, get a better idea of what my major was going to look like, and what my future career would look like. So as a freshman, I wanted to get in and get into some of those orgs and learn all I could. And so I started off with AADE primarily, and I had some really great mentors. Lauren Borden and Patrick Smith were some of the people that really helped me out. And as a freshman, I was kind of intimidated to get involved in committees, but them and a few other people were really integral parts of getting me involved and encouraging me to apply for a director position, and then further on down the road.
So what would you tell people right now, I guess, that are in college right now, I guess, hesitant? I mean, because I would fall in one of those classes about being hesitant to get involved in the committee and all that stuff. I mean, what would you tell people that are kind of listening right now that might be in university or now in a career path that kind of hesitant to get involved? What would you tell them right now?
I mean, you got to think, what's the worst case, right? Worst case scenario, you join the org, you get a feel for it, maybe you apply and you don't get the position. Well, there's, especially at A&M, I think we have the most student orgs of any American college, I believe, or at least one of the top ones. So there's plenty of places to get involved. And so for me, I actually didn't start out with AD. I started out with some traveling abroad kind of group.
Yeah.
And I started out with them, and I had the most points for involvement. It was, I thought it was going great, and I didn't get picked to ultimately go abroad. So instead of kind of getting mad and giving up, I just rotated. I went to AD and
shifted your energy.
Exactly. Yeah. You
right.
just go to the next place and work hard there and hope that someone sees it.
All right.
Luckily, they did.
What about you? Why'd you get involved?
So I would say mine started with volunteering. It mostly started with, I guess, SPE, sophomore year.
Okay.
I was already volunteering with like big event, like you mentioned, Aggie Replan, Kyle Field Cleanup, all those volunteer events that the universities hold.
What was your drive to get involved in so many volunteer organizations?
It's just something I enjoy. It's a way to de-stress for me. It's like working out. I love to work out. I like to run. And helping, pick up trash off the street or something like that, or go helping people, replant trees or something like that. That's a way to de-stress for me, and it makes me feel good, And
kind of giving back a little
yeah,
bit.
exactly. Giving back in a way that's, not focusing on me, but others and the environment as well. So I started that with SPE, and I really liked our mentor and the director. Her name is Tracy Ike. She works for Exxon now.
Okay.
Super, super great person. Really motivated me to get more involved than I already was, and encouraged me to, at least apply for the director position of philanthropy. But my friend, actually, when we were talking about it earlier, is got a job for BP.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she actually applied for the SPE one, so I just applied for the AADE one, and so we kind of just teamed up, and our orgs worked together, and we were already friends, so we figured if we were both directors of those positions, then we could hold events more, have better communication between the orgs and stuff like that. And then from there, I applied to be an officer after they encouraged me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an introvert already.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be the officer, and they were like, come on, our friend group's doing it, you gotta do it.
So you put yourself out there, you kind of got in a situation you're uncomfortable with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was actually very uncomfortable, and I didn't want to be the VPE.
Well, time out. I kind of want to talk about this real quick.
Well, we can talk about it.
You are an introvert.
I am very introverted.
What are you?
I'd say I'm a mix of the two. It really just
You're a
depends.
blend.
He's a blend, yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
that's
as an introvert, your position is external.
Yes.
Right? You're vice president external. So that means, what does that entail?
Being an extrovert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're having to reach out to companies. And organizations and trying to get people to the school to what to speak,
hold events, present, sponsor events like tailgates.
So how is that for you as an introvert?
I really enjoy it now. For the past 2 years, I've been working towards being an introvert to being more of a an extroverted person, and trying to put myself out there like you said, and so as a VP external, I kind of just outreach to companies, get them to sponsor our events. And mostly, I feel like my role has changed than it was for the previous officer who did my role.
Why?
Because of COVID, mostly.
So how's it changed?
So before, it was mostly just sending emails, and then once you get sponsors, all the events are confirmed, the dates are down.
So it was not easier, but it was kind of it was more receptive.
More receptive,
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
Because people are more willing to be in person.
For sure.
Hold events and spend their money if they're actually interacting.
So y'all seen kind of a slowdown when it comes to people responding or company involvement?
Most
There-
definitely.
I would say sponsorship wise, of course, because
Well, yeah, I mean,
money's an issue.
money's, yeah, obviously.
But the amount of information that we have, now compared to before COVID,
Yeah.
I feel like has exploded.
Mhm.
Like your podcast, for instance, you're putting out information,
Yeah, it's the number one hit
videos
podcast. No one's talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that right now. No one's talking about
I
it's the
mean-
number one hit podcast.
nowadays.
No one's bringing that up.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of more information out there, so we're actually being bombarded with universities sending us, their own presentations, their own events.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, can you advertise this for us? And of course, we're happy to advertise that because we want students to be, and we want them to have information, available to them.
Mhm.
Our job as, officers is to make sure that information is given to them or presented to them, and making sure we're doing our part to, help them out while.
Well, that's kind of tough to kind of be in both y'all's roles
Yeah.
right now with, I guess, everything going on. I mean, COVID's been around since March. It's
Mhm.
still, plus the election, plus
Yeah.
this, plus Q4. So, I mean, there's still this, there's a lot against you guys right now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Definitely.
I don't envy y'all, you know what I mean? But but I'm proud, it's kind of encouraging to hear what y'all are doing. And so, right now, I guess with as an external VP, and as the president, but I won't talk about the external side first. But
Sure.
as an external VP, the responses are slower. Companies are a little bit slower to sponsor things and all that stuff. So what can the oil and gas industry do to not just you, but also other, chapters out there, not just SPE, but AD, SPE,
Mhm.
what can, not just companies, but what could people do to kind of help your fellow students during these times?
Mhm. Yeah, so that's a great question. I think,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. SPE has, like the mentorship program, which is, I feel like it's been more on the come up and more people are, know about it. And I think that's a big thing that could play a role in, getting that outreach, and especially in times like this when things are slowed down, events are slower.
Right.
It'd be nice for students to have, a mentor in industry. And that's something we kind of talked about last semester
Mhm.
with our officers. And
So what does that look like?
so basically, we have contact lists already, and we have former student contact lists,
Right.
and that would consist basically sending out emails to them saying, hey, would you be willing to mentor one of our younger students, whether they're a freshman, sophomore, senior, junior, anything like that, and just kind of helping them with their resume, with the job search, if they have any questions, something like that.
Well, hey, I think that's great that y'all have there's a database and all that stuff with actual names. But I think if anyone's listening right now, you can find Keaton Upshaw and Dean Murphy on LinkedIn, and I think this is actually kind of a cool little avenue that people could potentially go down. It don't have to be A&M graduates, don't have to be
Yeah.
Aggies.
Oh, most
Exactly.
definitely.
I think that's kind of cool, even if it's like, because you hear about, so in this podcast you hear about mentorship, right?
Mhm.
But that's usually if you're at the same company. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Mentor below the engineer, yeah.
But that being said, you can still be a mentor even
Mhm.
if you're in Dallas and y'all are in College Station, or
Exactly.
you're a student in Oklahoma and the office is in Houston. So
Yeah.
I do think that as an industry, I think, and not just a company, but as a person, if anyone's out there listening right now who kind of does want to get involved a little bit, and even to just be a soundboard for people kind of pinging a resume or career advice or whatever that looks like, or even just talking about how they feel about the industry, please reach out. And obviously we're going to put up the SBE link and all that stuff. We'll put all that stuff out there. But I think that's a great call. I mean, you're mentioning you got this database list already, but is that people that actually volunteer to kind of be mentors, or is that just kind of a list of graduates?
Most of it's a list of graduates, but I mean, I have high confidence that most of them would be willing to, mentor students.
Oh, yeah.
Especially from A&M.
I'll bet so.
It's just getting them, contacted and actually, getting them connected to the student, and then
Yeah,
from
getting the
there,
program started.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen the mentorship post that y'all put on LinkedIn. I think it's phenomenal, and I do think that there's I think there's more opportunity out there.
Agreed.
You know, not just, you know,
Certainly.
it could be anyone. It could be someone, a drilling engineer, you know, sitting wherever, like, I got time. I'll check this guy for
Even
this
if-
guy or girls.
Yeah, even like a video call now, because that's
Yep.
opened up
Oh, dude,
a whole new realm.
That's
of,
everything these days.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
honestly makes it easier.
I've been on
You know,
video
you can talk to someone who's maybe an executive
Yeah.
that maybe might have 15 minutes, but not enough time to drive to College Station, talk to you, and drive back. You know?
So
Yeah.
how is it for you? I mean, your role,
Mhm.
you're the president of SPE, right
Yeah,
now,
yes.
Dean. And how is it for you? I mean, seriously, you were sitting probably in the toughest time since, you know, 1984.
Mhm.
Right now, kind of running this. So how do you see, I guess, the role as SPE president from the previous person to your role, and kind of what are you doing about that? Like, I mean, how are you tackling those challenges?
For sure. Yeah. So last year's team was amazing. They actually won the Outstanding Student Chapter Award for our Texas A&M chapter, which
Outstanding.
huge kudos to them for sure. And so seeing that, and then you know coming in with, of course, all my friends and with this new team, you know, it's like there's an expectation almost that we need to go even more above and beyond to get that award. And this year, especially with the COVID going on and the whole downturn in that situation, it obviously adds more pressure to that. So there's definitely, especially towards the beginning, there was a lot of pressure to come up with some cool kind of revolutionary ideas to try to make sure that our students were being able to become valuable after graduation by not only graduating from A&M and getting in petroleum engineering, but also attending some of our tours and our events that
Right.
help them become a little bit more well-rounded, not just solely academic. And this year we've really had an amazing team. I'm really happy that I was able to serve with all my friends, and we communicate really great. This year we've actually had I think we've had more events than last year was able
Really?
to have. Yeah, because the whole virtual thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're able to get a CEO from a company come talk to us for an hour, as opposed to him driving down, paying for a hotel.
And
staying-
Flying and
that's
all
a
that
big
stuff.
deal. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're really taking 3 days out of someone's calendar.
Exactly.
Now you just
A
kinda-
busy
they can be
person.
sitting in the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Exactly, and they don't even have to be dressed up professionally. They just get on with a voice call or whatever and talk to
So
us.
you find more challenging right now, or is it kind of like you're kind of embracing like, look, it sucks right now. We can't get out there, but let's use the tools we have in our toolbox.
Most definitely. Yeah, at first we were like, cancel all the events. They got to be, virtual. We
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. That we can't do in person anymore. But then we adapted,
Right.
as everyone does, and we ended up kind of thriving in that environment, being able to, reach out to people on LinkedIn, and a day later they come back and say, yep, I can do that date, 15 minutes, 30
Are y'all
minutes.
seeing more, I guess, communication through those professional websites like LinkedIn?
Mhm.
Are y'all seeing more responses lately with everything going on?
I would say
I would
so.
say so, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
people are probably, more active. Maybe they they don't have much to do.
There's nothing
and-
going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Might as well be
Might be
glued
on
from the
LinkedIn,
computer
yeah.
and getting upset about stuff
Scrolling
that you can't
LinkedIn.
control.
There you go. Yeah, so we've been using LinkedIn, email, all that kind of stuff, and we've been really fortunate. We have some really cool events planned for our members. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we can kind of stay on top of those. If anyone wants to look, they can obviously look at the Texas A&M SPE website and find the
Mhm.
events
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
find ways to kind of contribute and help out maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe swing on by.
Yeah, most definitely. We've also got a TAMU SPE LinkedIn page, and so they can go on there and reach out through there.
Oh, we're going to plug that. We'll plug
Okay.
that when
Yeah,
it gets launched.
that'd be excellent.
So I got a question. You guys, you're patrolman first generation, both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to step in here. You have about 4 or 5 months left of studies before you get that degree and all that stuff. What is y'all's perception right now with everything going on there? So the reason I'm asking this is because I haven't heard a situation where people talk about this. What's the perception of people trying to get jobs right now in the oil and gas industry? People are talking about switching roles. People are talking about moving out of the industry. I want to talk about people that want to come into the industry based on their studies. What's y'all's perception right now in the oil and gas industry? And honestly, this is just kind of this is going to be personal perception. What is kind of the group, I guess, that y'all are representing?
Yeah.
What's kind of the overall feeling? It could be pessimistic, optimistic, nervous, anxious, excited. What?
I would say it's a mix of all, honestly. I feel like for the seniors, it's kind of, definitely a mix because at first I was honestly, personally, nervous and everything like that. But at this point, I'm kind of optimistic and just looking for, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But I think speaking as a group and as for our class, I would say as overall it's probably more nerves than anything.
Is that just because the current state of the industry and all that stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Like yesterday, I was talking to a student who wants to be a new officer this upcoming year, and he asked me. He said I'm personally nervous. Like I just want I'm not feeling well about this. I don't know where it's heading. He's like, I want to know your opinion.
Yeah.
And that kind of strikes you because you're just like. You know, like your own peer is asking you that question, like, how do you feel?
You kind of have to take off that political side of things and be like, hey, actually, the real talk side of things.
Exactly.
And so what you tell him? Or her?
Yeah, so what I told him exactly what I just told you is that, yeah, man, I was nervous, I lost my internship, I personally, I have bills to pay, I'm a college student, college is not cheap at all. I got, I have to pay for my own bills, my internship was ended. I had to get a job immediately after that just to pay for my school and stuff like that. And I told him it's not going to be easy, but...
And you are working right now. You're at Home Depot.
I'm working at Home Depot right now.
Are you off of right there on Highway 6?
Yeah, on
right
University.
There, Freebirds?
Yeah, that's it.
Not that I know that.
It's a great place.
I'm with you.
Yep. I worked there, yeah, but I told him that I was more optimistic now than I definitely was, at least a month ago.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's just because I really want to be, a petroleum engineer. I really want to work in the oil and gas industry. So I feel like if I just put my head down and do what I've been doing, working hard, trying to get myself out there, gaining new skills, then everything's going to work out, and I shouldn't have a problem.
You know what? And plus, also, you're seeing right now. I mean, we're recording this right now at the beginning of November. We're still kind of counting ballots right now, but. No, kind of what you're seeing right now, I'm not sure about the trends you're seeing, but on LinkedIn you're definitely seeing a certain level of activity increasing, or people, job postings, or we're getting busy here. So it definitely is, it's not all doom and gloom right now from what I'm seeing from my side of things. But what about you? What's been your kind of overall, I guess, like gossip that you're hearing about the industry right now?
Yeah, so I think the primary students that are kind of concerned would be the freshmen at A&M, because like I said earlier, you've got to apply to a major. So these freshmen that are considering petroleum engineering, they have the option, right now of either applying to petroleum or mechanical, whatever they want to do.
Right.
So some of them I think are thinking, is it worth it? Is oil and gas done? And to us, it sounds ridiculous, but to a freshman,
but
they're
but
kind of...
Dean, it's not ridiculous because we have done such a disservice of kind of being labeled as a new tobacco company, or new coal, or something like that.
Yeah.
When it's completely different than that, you know what I mean? So no, there's some validity to that, and that kind of falls on us as an industry. We've done a poor job of being advocates to our industry, what we do. You know what I mean? And not just what we do for the communities and all that stuff, but like, you talk about fossil fuels, everyone has this, black tar, doom and gloom, and all that stuff, but it's not. I mean, we have a cleaner footprint than one of those, wind turbines and all that stuff from cradle to grave.
Yeah.
So it's kind of being advocated on that too.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to say something real quick. In regards to that,
it's a conversation.
This morning I actually went into work. I had work at 6 a.m. this morning, so I went into work. This guy walks up to me. He works overnight shifts.
Yeah.
So we just started talking about stuff, and he was talking about the difference between rhetoric and education and what you see online. And I was just like, he was a philosophy major, and I was like, okay.
Oh, boy.
So whatever. Some of the stuff he was saying was kind of going over my head, but he was like, we got to talking about what my major was, and I said petroleum engineering. And the first thing he said to me was, I can't wait for that industry to be done. Like, he basically just said that straight to my face.
And you know what's frustrating about that is, though, with that type of response to you, you can't talk facts. You can't be like, well,
So with someone like that, no.
Well, I mean, but that's what I was talking about being an advocate. Like, I mean,
exactly.
You can't be like, well, there's the bigger carbon footprint. We need to appeal as an industry more, kind of connecting within the hearts and minds, and kind of explaining to people like, hey, we're not the big bad guys with these 10-gallon cowboy hats coming in and want to kick over this indigenous creature.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not all bad. So this person saying like, I can't wait till
He's like, I couldn't wait until the industry's done.
Well, look, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't like greenhouse gases or anything like
Yeah.
that, but at the same time, that's the time we live in.
Yeah.
Look, I want to travel to, Paris, France in 30 minutes,
Yeah.
on some speed plane, but that's not happening right now.
Yeah.
So this guy is saying that, it's kind of...
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
for
It's
sure.
unrealistic.
Mhm.
I mean, I
It's
guarantee
generalized,
he
yeah.
drove there, I guarantee. He'd probably take,
I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
And there's a lot of, not misinformation, but just there's a kind of something with our industry, right? That it's not just right now. We just
Yeah.
need to be better advocates of just communicating who we are.
Yeah.
Most
as
definitely.
people.
And I think again that going back to that freshman, that would definitely help them get a better idea of what it's actually going to be like. They'd have a more realistic view of what the future is going to be like. Because to you and I, we know that petroleum isn't going to go anywhere. It's
Right.
going to be here for
Right.
a while. But like you said, being able to communicate that, especially to younger people, and getting them involved in oil and gas in an early stage in their career would be incredibly beneficial for
No,
them
yeah, absolutely.
and the industry.
Just telling our
Yeah.
story. Just telling our story.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I'll say one more thing. I can't even tell you how many people after I tell them I'm a petroleum engineering major, they either see two things. They either say are you in it for like the money? Is that what you're in it for?
Yeah.
Or something related to what that guy basically said is
Well, first off,
Something
I feel like
affecting
you
it.
choose a major based on a career path.
exactly.
Am I wrong?
No.
Am I?
I think
That's
a
okay
logical
to say?
person would.
Exactly.
That's okay to say.
Yes.
So yeah, so if it is about
Yeah.
money and all that,
Yeah.
that's not all it's about. But at the same time, I mean, that's not a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
second
exactly.
side, you know what that is? That's the news.
Exactly.
That's
It's
social
perception.
media. It's perception, and we need to change the perception.
Exactly.
That's
Like
exactly
you
right.
said, we got to do a better job.
And we do, man. And that's just that's not doing these podcasts and being like, well, actually, that's actually talking to people and
Exactly.
listening.
Mhm.
Not spouting facts. It's actually listening.
And that's
in
what
my opinion.
That's what I tell them. I told them like every time somebody says that, I'm just real with them. Like even friends like that didn't know I was a petroleum engineering major. They're like, why do you do that? They're like, you're harming the environment and stuff like that. I'm like, look, everything you have on right now, your clothes, your shoes,
Mhm.
they're all a byproduct of petroleum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize how much stuff we actually use. It's like your phone screen is probably made out of petroleum byproducts.
Medicine.
Medicine.
Everything.
And one person was actually like, wow, I didn't know that at all.
Really?
Yeah, she said this. She was from a foreign country, but
Right.
she was like, yeah, I didn't know this at all. And I was
Yeah,
like,
some
yeah,
people don't think
this
about
is true. I'm like, that's the reason I'm in it, not for those other reasons.
Yeah. No, I completely. So I mean,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, kind of going away from that, but I completely agree. We need to be advocates. We need to not just communicate facts, but we also need to appeal to people.
Exactly.
So, I mean, going to these freshmen right now in 2020, right? So y'all chose a degree, literally, you can watch the volatility of it.
Mhm.
Your entire careers at Texas A&M, or while you're in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, 2017 wasn't hot. 2018 got better. 2019 through 2020. I mean, so you're watching an industry unfold. So how is that with y'all? I mean, kind of watching, I guess, the peaks and valleys of an industry when you're trying to go after that industry. What's that like for you?
I think that's what makes it exciting. It's I was telling a freshman the other day, he was nervous, wasn't sure if he wanted to do petroleum engineering, and to kind of put his mind at ease, I was saying, petroleum engineering is obviously not easy. Any route of engineering that you go into is not going to be easy, but in oil and gas, it's like any investment. There's risk, there's reward, and to have the big paycheck and the cool job of being a petroleum engineer, going in the field and still doing the technical stuff and all that, you got to have risk for that. You can't just get that for free. You're going to have to work hard. There's going to be things that are out of your control that you're going to need to be able to adapt to. So kind of explaining that to people, I think, is will get them more realistic view of the industry. I think.
Right. What about you?
Yeah, along the similar lines, like as a freshman, I'm not gonna lie, I had the same fears going in. I obviously didn't know much about petroleum as a freshman. I feel like most freshmen don't.
Right.
They don't know the real perception of it, and I think that's part of our role. I mean, media's role, oil companies' roles.
Well, the media's
everyone.
role will not be there.
Yeah.
You can take that away.
Their role is going to go there.
It's going to be grassroots.
Yeah, true. But it's also the role of seniors like us reaching out or, responding to freshmen that have reached out and letting them know, what we've learned. I was in the same position. Here's where I am now. Here's what I've learned, and here's what the real thing is. This is what is actually happening. This is what we actually do.
Right.
What those other people say, some of it might be true, sure, yeah, but most of it's probably not. And this is what the real scenario is, and you shouldn't be worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's a good point. So I kind of want to go into kind of, you just said y'all are seniors right now in Texas A&M. You know what I mean? And you're about to graduate. COVID going on, things are locked down, all stuff. What right now could be beneficial to y'all and to other people right now that are going to be transitional in gas industry? What would help y'all or help your group during these times?
I would say if someone's looking to go into oil and gas, whether you be a student that's graduating or maybe a young professional switching industries or something like that, definitely picking up auxiliary skills. So if you go to school and you get to get a degree in petroleum engineering, you're not owed a job in petroleum engineering.
Right.
You've still got to add more stuff. If 200 people graduate, we all have a degree in petroleum engineering. You're all the same. Nothing.
Right.
So you got to figure out things that'll differentiate yourself between you and your peers and these other people that are going to be essentially competing for the same jobs. So I would highly recommend going on LinkedIn, networking with people, getting to learn about the industry. Try to get an internship if you can, and pick up coding languages because that's where it's going.
That's exactly right. But another thing I wanted to kind of amplify what you just said. Like, go on LinkedIn, network. Don't be nervous to network. Don't be afraid to make a connection. Reach out. Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm just following you. Like, I'm a senior about to graduate. Just want to say hi. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
Never ask for a job. Never ask for a job.
No, don't ask for a job. But also, don't be afraid to reach out. Just connect with someone. Just connect with someone.
Yeah.
I mean, you might find more about that person or that role or that response. I mean, than you would if you're just sitting there kind of reading online, like, okay, vice president of this, they do this. I mean,
Exactly.
you can learn more if you just kind of have that relationship.
Especially nowadays, like we were talking about with the increase in virtual events that we've had. I tell all the kind of mentees that I have, I always tell them, go on LinkedIn, even if it's a CEO or an executive. They can probably spare 15 minutes at some point in the week. So LinkedIn is a treasure trove of valuable information. You can reach out and have a quick 15-minute phone call within the day that you send the message.
Yeah, and the thing is, don't be nervous about it. I mean, just because the person's CEO or VP, no one gets it. People want to communicate. People want to be advocates towards our industry.
Most definitely, yeah. They're always looking to help. Everyone I've reached out to on LinkedIn has been super helpful.
So how can the current people listening right now, whether the operators or service companies and all that, what can we do to help y'all?
I've seen
and that could be over anything.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen a few people that are industry professionals. They've been seasoned professionals, where they have some years of experience.
Right.
And they'll just put a general post on LinkedIn. Reach out to me. They're kind of doing it, themselves, and so the students reach out to them. They say, reach out to me. I'll look over your resume. I'll help you. Offering basically a mentorship to multiple students. Whoever needs the help. Something like that, I would imagine, would be extremely valuable. And then again, like we talked about, these official mentorship programs at SPE, AD, IDC, they all have those, and definitely getting involved in those is another way to easily help anyone in petroleum.
So maybe taking that step to reach out to a president of an SPE on an incoming graduating class and just say, hey, I don't have much time, I don't have much to offer, but what can I do?
Exactly. Yeah, and if you reach out to any oil and gas student, or for sure they're going to want to get you in and try to hopefully find a spot that works for you.
Right. And just as we said, even toward facilities. Y'all went to FESCO, which was a great experience, it looked like, for y'all.
Oh, for sure.
So even offering that, hey, look, I can't offer anything, but you can come check out our our bid shop or something like that.
Yeah.
Just check it out. So what about you? How can we help as an industry, the incoming group?
I think Dean pretty much summed it up well there. I think it first starts with the mentorship which we talked about earlier a little bit. Just that first step of reaching out and connecting with the students is a big part of it. That's how you get started.
Are you nervous about that as an introvert? Doing the initial, hey, it's me.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
I'm the same way.
That's that's my problem on LinkedIn right now. Like, I love to follow people
Mhm.
that cause this has knowledge. You know, I want to learn. I want to learn from whoever I can.
Right.
I mean, if it's data science, I follow a bunch of data science people. I follow, a bunch of people in different industries, just because everyone knows different stuff that
Yeah.
I'm interested in.
Mhm.
And but I do have a problem with that reaching out, that sending a message, just saying I'm here just to follow you and
Right.
learn something about you and learn from your knowledge and whatever you'd like to share on LinkedIn or whatever. And that's something I'd like to work on personally. And
Well,
I encourage other people to do the
I
same.
get that though.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I first got a job, like at Noble Drone, I remember I spent like 15 minutes on like a 2-sentence email. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's not professional enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and also like reaching out to people. It's like, well, I don't know that person. I don't want to
Yeah.
click
Mhm.
connect. Like, but I mean, you just at the end of the day, you just don't give a shit. You're like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna connect with you.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna send you something. You want to respond to me? Great. If not,
Exactly.
Exactly.
okay, you can do your own thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, I think definitely connect, and also if you do get a connection, a student, that doesn't mean they're looking for a job. They
Mhm.
just might be looking to get some
Exactly.
advice or mentorship, or
Exactly.
even kind of just like bounce something off.
Yeah.
And another great thing about LinkedIn is when you connect with people, I don't know if it was always like this, but you can add a little note when you send them the request. So
Yeah.
you can always, I think you had a guest, Ruben Rico, talk about kind of doing this on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, but basically, you can add a little note and just say, hey, how about we, set up a quick call? I'm a petroleum engineer, stuff like that. So usually I found a lot of success
And personalize
using
some
that
little
sort of
notes.
thing. Yeah. And just offering, hey, if you're free for 15 minutes, quick phone call.
And the thing's like, you find that on our side, people are
Mhm.
receptive to that. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's kind of like, oh wow, you're kind of taken back. Like I'm a little
Exactly.
honored. Like
Mhm.
thank
They
you.
actually took their
Yeah,
time.
Yeah, yeah, they took their time to reach out to me. Like,
Exactly.
how they find me, I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
think-
for a little bit I was throwing around the idea of maybe getting like an MBA or pursuing higher education after graduating. And
is that because of what's going on in the current market right now, or is that
Mhm.
just because you want to pursue?
well, I'll eventually want to pursue it, but I figure now if the market's down, like maybe it would be great to just kind of wait it out,
Right.
get the higher education, and then continue. But I was curious, and I didn't have anyone in my immediate family or friend circle that had an MBA really, so I just hopped on LinkedIn and found a couple successful MBAs and at different schools that I was interested in, Rice and other
Yeah.
schools, and I set up phone calls with them, and I mean, getting their opinion on how they view different MBA programs, getting a better idea of what the cost is, the time commitment,
Right.
stuff like that, and ultimately I decided not to do so based on their advice, but
Which is great.
I never would have known that. Maybe I would have gone into it
Yeah.
and regretted it
Yeah, you
had I
would-
not reached out to them.
You would probably would have regretted it, but at the same time, you wouldn't have had the biggest bang for your buck.
Exactly.
I-
Yeah, it wouldn't have been optimal
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Not
so-
ideal. Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. I mean, if people are out there listening right now, someone connects you and all that stuff, they might just want to ask a random question like that. Like,
Yeah.
was it worth it right now, or should I wait?
Exactly.
I mean, don't be nervous to comment or make a connection
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. So, what are some kind of, I guess, behind the scenes right now? What are some hot topics going right now? I guess in y'all in the the MSC Center, like, what are y'all discussing right now about the oil and gas industry? What's I guess what's on y'all's mind right now that I guess even after this, if people want to reach out to y'all and kind of address and all this stuff, I guess I don't have the answers. I know that. I do know that. But what's going on with y'all?
Yep. I think maybe some of the hot topics are kids debating if they want to switch industries for sure, and,
Really?
and how that.
Even petroleum engineers?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, only 3 full-time offers this past career fair, and I think we're a class of about somewhere between 90 and 50 students.
Was that the only communication that this career fair had for you? It's like,
Mhm.
here's the only 3 jobs, or is
Oh,
it like,
no,
hey,
no.
look, it's just a bad year.
Okay.
We'll be back. Like, don't worry. Like, what was the communication to y'all?
For sure. So this was actually a career fair that was student organized. Kara Stark is our wonderful developer for that event that we
She's
hold.
a listener.
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure. And she's our director for that. So she puts all that together, and I mean, she did a fantastic job. The whole summer was just grinding, sending emails, and I mean, we reached out to just about every
Really?
oil and gas company we could find.
Hundreds of people.
Yeah, literally hundreds, and multiple people at each company too.
Okay.
So maybe 10
Okay.
people per company, and in the end, we were again only able to come up with a few because this was during kind of the peak of the COVID scare. Is when we're trying to get companies to give us money. So
People just shut down.
yeah, so
This is
people
when
aren't
we're shut
hiring,
down,
people are
yeah.
cutting costs. It's just not the right time.
And and also everyone kind of people are nervous and scared too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a real thing.
A lot of
you know?
uncertainty for sure.
So
And,
what do I do? I go to my boss and say, hey, this Texas A&M SPE chapter wants us to go in there and set up a booth, and my boss might chew my head off, or I might be on the radar.
Yeah.
So I understand the hesitancy of
Exactly.
people wanting to get involved.
And we had to do it virtually as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was
virtual.
another kind of freaky piece where not as many companies were willing to do that because they're not familiar with it or
Yeah, no,
stuff like
I
that.
get that. What other hot topics? What other bitch grabs from playing? Let's get into it.
I really think that a lot of students are nervous about, like I said, switching industries. It's almost like a pride thing, I would say, because you spent 4 years and all this money. Maybe you had really stellar grades, and you think you earned it at the end. They probably did, and you're just not there at the right place at the right time, and so you might need to go into consulting or a different role, and maybe they kind of take that as, am I not good enough? Does that reflect poorly on me?
So what do you tell them during these conversations?
For sure, yeah. So I've had friends who have ended up in companies that aren't oil and gas, and maybe at first they're down in the dumps, they're okay with it now, but you just have to remind them this
Is that a pride thing?
This is a record year. Maybe so. I don't want to speak for them personally, but I know if I graduated and I had stellar grades, did everything perfectly, I would be upset as well.
I get that.
That I didn't end up in an industry that I worked really hard to get into. Anyone would be upset with that. So I've seen quite a few students are nervous about that, and have started interviewing or applying to companies that are outside of oil and gas because they think it's going to look rough. And likely it will be.
I mean, it is rough right now, the oil and gas industry, and you're exactly right. I mean, it's not bad to have these real life, I guess, conversations. Like, look, I've studied for 4 or 5 years, it's a PE degree. It might not be panning out, so I might want to go look outside. So that's not having those conversations right now. I don't think it's a bad thing. There's no shame in that. You know what I mean? I mean,
I agree.
Some people don't mind instability. You know what I mean? Like every person in the oil and gas industry, but some people want more stable careers. So it's not a bad thing to look out. There shouldn't be any shame in that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and for those people, I always encourage them to, be patient. So, maybe take on another semester if you can afford it and you have the time, you're willing to do that, or maybe pursue higher education if that's your thing. But really, just being patient and waiting for it to come back up. It always does. So. The demand for hydrocarbons isn't going to vanish within.
No, but we're just kind of in a weird phase right now. First off, I don't envy either one of you right now. I mean, y'all are coming in the industry literally in the toughest time ever. It's unprecedented out there. I mean, you got COVID, you got the election, you got OPEC, you got this, you got that, you got that. Excuse me. I don't envy y'all, but I am saying, like, I really am glad y'all are here today and kind of telling us kind of what's going on, kind of in y'all's groups, kind of in y'all's classes, what you're trying to do, trying to get help from external, companies, and trying to, even have these conversations like, man, I'm not sure if I want to stay in this, like it's a tough decision right now.
For sure.
It is.
Yeah. And it affects more than just the job too. If you think about college, you probably have these wonderful memories of, going to Northgate and hanging out and all that.
Pork it is protecting y'all's freedom. Thank
God.
No fun at all. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Exactly. But now for us, it's our graduating year, and same for some other students. But they've closed a lot of the places down. I don't even think for a while there you could go bowling or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, much less the bars. They shut all those down. So, and of course, you can't even have a house party or have friends over, have a certain amount of friends over because you got to be limited to that as well. So I feel like that takes an even bigger chunk out of it. So not only are you uncertain about your job, but now you've got to be in your room studying. You can't go out too much, and so I think that was a big hot topic again with some of the students for sure.
Well, which, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's true. I mean, you could bump into someone at a party. It's like, oh yeah, my dad's over at operator.
For sure.
So, like, I never knew you were looking.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, but that's part of it. I mean, you network anywhere. You don't network at these these bullshit industry lunches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice to meet you. But at a time, you can bump into anyone at a gas station or at a house party and just talk to them.
I think my friends always make fun of me. Keaton can probably attest to that. But networking everywhere is definitely something I advocate.
Good.
Definitely.
Yeah. What about you?
I was about to tell a story of Dean advertising, but
You don't have to.
No. I think I want to say.
I don't know if we're gonna go.
Let me check the tape. We have time.
Oh,
We have time. Go ahead.
All right.
Oh,
Go ahead. Let's do
I'm
this.
getting
Let's
a
have
call.
fun. Let's
I'm
open it
getting
up
a
little bit.
call.
So this was last year at I don't remember what football game it was, but it was one of the football games.
All right.
And this was when Dean was AADE president,
Yeah.
and
Wait, are you still involved in AD?
So I go to some of their events, and I still kind of help the current officer team out, but
Okay.
I'm not officially affiliated.
You shifted your focus to SPE.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, it's busy, so I don't have time to do both.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
yeah.
All right. So let's
Yeah,
get back to the story.
Yeah, anyways, we were at the football game, and Dean happened to have a QR code for our, I think it was a membership sign up or something
Yeah.
like that. We were looking for members at that time. I think it was the beginning of the year, so we're trying to get as many members as we could, freshmen,
Mhm.
whatever major, mechanical. And apparently somebody, the girl next to us or something like that was a
Yeah.
mechanical engineering major. So he's like, "Oh, you interested in oil and gas?" And she was like, "I don't know, maybe," or something like that.
Okay.
And Dean's like, "Oh, just."
The QR code. Right
He had the
there,
QR
yeah.
code. Yeah, Dean
Mhm.
had a little water before, but yeah,
Topo Chico.
yeah,
Exactly.
Topo Chico.
Exactly. I think the next day we probably had.
But time out. Stop. Tell the story. No, I want him to tell the story. I want you to do the follow up. Tell the story. All right. Don't
Okay, so he doesn't just show
Just
it to this
talk.
one person.
just talk.
He doesn't just show it to this one person. He puts his hand in the air and he just starts screaming.
I love that.
He's like, if anyone wants to sign up for AADE, here's the QR code.
Scan it.
And there were
Scan
people
it, yeah.
people with dad. One guy was like, "Oh yeah, my dad worked for Halliburton." He starts talking to
Yeah.
us, and I mean, it was amazing. Just doing that one thing, we had probably
It literally worked out. Yeah,
10
it was
people
hilarious.
join, and
By the way, Dean, I love how you just shut down that story. I was really affected with
Yeah,
that. Just
he
one
was like,
thing.
it was really
Yep.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, doing that one thing really just we got a lot of commitment, a lot of sponsorship. No,
We did.
like so pretty much. So he's
It
showing
was-
this
it
QR
was
code
hilarious.
going on. But you know what though? That's smart though. It's like
It
you know
is,
what?
yeah.
I'm gonna try something new here.
exactly
Like I'm gonna go after this. I like
unconventional
that.
methods. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Do what you gotta do.
I completely agree. So what else we got here? Closing my key. Okay, closing. I mean, you guys have any advice or keys to success to students that may be listening to this, considering a career in the oil and gas industry?
Yeah, so I guess my biggest thing is probably just stay persistent.
In what ways?
I would say academically and even socially, like just get yourself out there. As a freshman, I wasn't very involved, and I think that's the biggest time to get involved. I know Dean got involved pretty much as from the beginning of his freshman year, so that's really important. It sets you up a lot faster to get involved later on.
Yeah.
And especially move up, like he was the president of AD as well, so now he's president of SPE. That's a big thing. Just get involved your freshman year and stuff like that. But in regards to petroleum, I mean, if you like the industry, if you've had experience, if you know people that are in it and they tell you good things and you sound like that's something you want to do, I mean, go for it. I really enjoy energy myself. Like I mentioned earlier, people always say, why do you want to be a petroleum engineer?
Yeah.
And I just tell them straight up, like, it sounds like something I want to do. It sounds great. I mean, we're helping provide energy for the world, and that's something I want to do. I want to be a part of that transition wherever it goes from there, and yeah, just be persistent and keep moving forward. Keep your head down, work hard.
And Keaton, something you just mentioned, I think, is kind of is extremely important. I mean, look, you got the academic side, you know what I mean, but no one can replicate what you do. The networking is extremely important,
Yeah.
and you only find that more important now after like I don't know if you know, but after the shutdown, back in March and all that stuff. If you don't have those networks,
Yeah.
you're not going to find them.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're already starting behind. So what you just said, you're like, yeah, study and also go to like house parties. Yeah, talk to people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I think that's it's a light thing to breeze by, but it's a very important
Yeah.
thing you just brought up. Like,
Yeah.
talk to people.
Yep.
Absolutely talk to people.
Most definitely. Yeah. For me, again, like you said, networking for sure. When I was a freshman, there was a kind of an end of the year get together with AUD, and I got to meet a lot of people, just barbecuing by the pool and stuff like that. And little things like that, little networking opportunities, get to meet new people, new friends, are huge and important. Had I not gone to that, I wouldn't have met the people that encouraged me to, get into the roles that I ended up getting into. Just that one event really had a profound impact. So you never know which dinner or which barbecue you're going to go to that's going to really change your career.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid of stuff like that. Bring a friend and really just put yourself out there. And also, like I said earlier, learn new skills. The industry is getting more digital. You got to learn how to code.
Actually, speak to that a little bit because before we record this, we talked about this. We talked about there's a couple key words I've heard on this podcast. It's data analytics, it's technology,
AI,
it's networking. But talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So jumping into AI and machine learning is obviously going to be incredibly beneficial in any industry, but oil and gas especially, people like to say that it's outdated and stuff like that, but there are actually a lot of companies who are kind of on the bleeding edge of technology as far as oil and gas, and they're using a lot of all the buzzwords, AI, machine learning, etc. And they're able to cut costs tremendously. So if ever an oil and gas company can do that, especially during a downturn, they're going to be able to save a ton of money and just run more efficiently in general.
One thing that I'm seeing on this podcast, obviously I get the opportunity to sit around with so many great people in so many different sectors, whether they're operators, service, directional, recruiter, whatever. You're hearing certain things, you know what I mean? I think the old way of, this is how we did it.
Traditional.
I've been doing, my grandpa's been doing it, that's what we do. We just put more weight on bit and keep going. No, it's evolved since then. So it has changed. And I think this stuff that you're bringing up is going to be not only more important, but it's going to be center stage.
Yeah, especially for us going into it.
And if it's not now, it's going to be in a couple of years.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
We'll be right in the middle of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. Most definitely.
Absolutely.
A perfect example, or one example that I have, I recently got involved with a research group at A&M, and we're doing machine learning and classification algorithms to figure out what kind of drilling vibrations you're experiencing during different dysfunctions. So essentially, using machine learning, these companies can figure out what's going on downhole just looking at those vibrations.
Right.
So stuff like that is, and there's a bunch more applications too, figuring out what kind of geology you're dealing with and stuff like that.
Have you always been one of those guys that just gets involved, or is it just kind of something that kind of stems like, oh, I want this to help me out later on? Because it sounds like what Keaton said, you just kind of jumped in freshman year to get involved in AD SPE. Did it like
Yeah, because when I met him, he was already involved. So,
really?
Yeah.
So did he get you involved?
Probably, honestly. I don't remember exactly, but I think he was one of the first few people I met. And because then I joined AEDE when he was president, so that was part of the role because I knew him at that point. So I joined then.
Have you always been this way?
So in high school, I really wasn't in many clubs. I was in like one club or whatever. Just I didn't really see the potential in that. But then after getting into college and really seeing, going to the first couple events and really seeing the potential for it, I got addicted to it, honestly, and I thought it was really, really fun. And then after becoming a director for technical development, it kind of became a cause bigger than myself. You figure out that hosting these events with these executives is not only cool because you get to meet them, obviously, but all your peers get to meet that executive. All your peers get certified in that program that you just hosted. And so eventually, over time, I had these guys that would come up to me and say, "Hey, man, you had that." Extended reach drilling certification event. I talked about that in an interview. I ended up getting this internship, and it's like, man, that's insane. I had that impact on that guy.
You know what's awesome about that? I completely agree. The fact that you're setting this up, you're getting this behind the scenes stuff, but you're not doing it for the credit. But at the same time, getting those getting that feedback from your classmates, hey man, that was really great. I actually landed this, or hey, met this person. That's motivating.
That's why
sure.
we joined.
I was even part of it, but thank you.
See, we joined SPE to learn. So
most definitely. And you're not getting
definitely
paid, so it's why do it?
No one's
some
getting paid.
Some people ask.
No one's getting paid in the oil and gas industry right now.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. But student orgs are obviously, it's all volunteers, so it's why do it? Sometimes some people ask me that, why do it? And getting that kind of feedback, people are being able to help people and then see them, the next year at an internship or the next year using some of the things that they learned at SPE, and maybe someone they met there provided them with a job or something. I think that's really cool.
I'm going to speak to that real quick. I mean, a lot of people get involved just to boost their resumes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? A lot of people get involved to, this is going to look good for my jobs hunting also.
Yeah.
But man, what y'all are doing right now, I think is awesome. I mean, you're setting people up to meet people and all that stuff. And here's the deal: you never know, like that person getting that job because they talked to a differential driller or
You
whatever.
don't know where they're going.
You have no idea where
Exactly.
they're going. And the fact you're helping them out and all that, that's just another person oilfield family that's in that
Exactly.
that you've
Mhm.
impacted.
Yep.
Yeah, he could be your boss one day or a coworker.
So
or
get
whatever.
involved.
Vice versa,
Get
who knows?
involved for the right reasons.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And if that's to help people, if that's to meet
Mhm.
people, that's great.
Yeah.
Don't get involved to help your resume because that shit's it's gonna be transparent. It's
Oh,
gonna be
most
obvious.
definitely. Yeah, I think any employer is going to be able to pick up, when they see your resume, and and there are some kids that are like that. They'll chase the titles and they want to have as many titles on the
Oh,
resume
yeah,
as
you
possible.
You can pick
You
those
see
kids
that-
out though.
Dude, you see that
You can
Anyway,
pick them
at
out.
my age. Yeah.
But the thing is, maybe you'll get your foot in the door, you'll get an interview with something like that. You've got all these titles on your resume, but when they're interviewing you and they ask you, okay, when you were a director, when you were an officer of this, what did you do? And they're, I don't know, let's say
Action behind the title.
It's gotta be.
you got to have something. You're better off. We were talking about this in the car earlier, but you're better off being a director and busting your ass and going out there and getting a bunch of events and helping all people out, versus just having an officer title and not doing anything.
Yeah, I completely agree. with
It's
that.
all about the story.
100%.
And plus, you're gonna know 15 more people than that person just actually
Exactly.
more than that.
Exactly.
Is there anything else that we can do right now? People listening to this, I mean, whether it's reaching out to you, seeing what they can do, or anything like that. Like I obviously want to put a little spark in this fire right now about the the incoming colleagues, family of the oil and gas industry. Is there anything else that we can do that you want to leave us on? Any final notes or messages or anything like that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dean.
So we've got as far as Texas A&M, we've got a golf tournament, we've got a technical exhibition where you can showcase some of your tools and
Next semester.
technology.
Wait a minute. When's this golf tournament?
Golf and clay. Golf and clay.
In the spring. So we'll have golf, we'll have a clay shoot, we'll have an exhibition. It's going to be a fun time.
Dean, if I don't hear from you, Keaton, I will remove this from the internet.
Okay.
You
If
will
I don't
hear
get
from
the
us.
invite-
You can be on our clay shoot team if you want.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at Halo. I'm a master sergeant in Halo, so anyway, I'm pretty good.
Whoa,
at
okay,
So
all
anyway.
right. Yeah, but like I said, all these student chapters in SPE will have something. So for the listeners out there in your region, you'll have an SPE chapter, no doubt. So
Right.
reach out to them, see if you get involved in their fundraisers, their golf tournaments, stuff like that. And like we were saying earlier, if you make a post and just kind of volunteer yourself to be a mentor, for sure you'll get kids reaching out to you because they definitely need it.
And honestly, if you're out there listening right now, and if you do get that type of a message or request or something like that, it doesn't have to mean it's 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be responding.
It could
back
be
like,
one
hey,
meeting.
Man, I would change your title. Like, dude, you don't want to have your full name in there. It could be something
Yeah.
simple and quick, but you're still impacting lives.
Yeah.
Anything helps.
What do you think?
I completely agree with Dean there. Like, it doesn't matter what SPE chapter it is. I mean, we pretty much communicate with the Gulf Coast section and stuff like that.
Right.
So, even if you're, in that region, or if you're in the Midland region, they have their own as well. That's
Yeah.
pretty active with
Yeah.
data analytics and stuff like that. Reaching out to them, we all communicate. We all, if there's an event in our area and they're there or something like that, and they want to know about it and they want to come here, and that's fine with us. I mean, just reach out to us. Let us know. I mean, we'll be reaching out to companies. We always are. Trying to get people to sponsor, whatever. I mean, whatever you want to do to get involved. We've had an overwhelming amount of participation this semester. I mean, like Dean said earlier, the amount of events we've had is I can't even. It's probably way more than we did last year.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think it's almost twice as much.
almost at least twice. Yeah,
Mhm.
something
You know
like
what?
that.
You know what's cool about hearing this? Like, you're hearing like, oh, we want sponsor. You hear a lot of people, come for like sponsorships. You want a bigger, better event, bigger,
Yeah.
better event. It sounds to me like y'all two are like, hey man, like we just want to get
Yeah.
to know you.
Yeah, we
If
don't
you wanna
charge
help
these
out,
people.
If you want to help
Yeah.
out, if you do, great. If you don't, I'm okay with that. I just want to get
Yeah,
to know you.
exactly. Most of our events this semester were free.
Yeah, it's been
Or
unsponsored.
basically free. They were like little fees, if that.
Mhm.
And I mean, we were just trying to get people to reach out to our students and
Yeah.
talk to them
Yeah.
and give them a presentation, especially in this hard time that we're not, communicating with each other. So hearing from people in industry can be inspiring and motivating for most of the students. So
That's right.
Mhm.
We're the only guys involved in Pixar. All right, well, that's a different story for the next podcast. All right, well, anyway, do you have anything else to say, guys? Any
I would say TY, but you might get mad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I do. Enough of that. Enough of that. Anyway, everyone, we have first off, thank you both for being here. I think-
Likewise, there you
I
go.
actually I enjoyed this. I enjoyed hearing the perspectives, why you guys got involved, what we can do for you, and honestly, it sounds like as an industry, the only thing we can do for you right now is be more receptive and communicate a little bit more.
Definitely.
Accept that LinkedIn request. I mean, it's not an industry thing; it's an individual thing, and I think that's kind of a cool thing that I'm hearing right now. Again, everyone, we have Dean Murphy, the Texas A&M SPE president of 2021, and we have Keaton Upshaw, the Texas A&M VP of External Relationships, 2021 as well. And guys, I honestly thank you for coming in. I wish you both continued success. And you can find them on LinkedIn, and we're going to post the Texas A&M SPE page. We're going to post their profiles. We're going to do everything we can to get y'all and to get the SPE organization out there so people can reach out to y'all and connect and see how they can help. And hopefully they do.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
If they
that'd be
don't-
much appreciated.
I'll tell you what, if they don't,
Much thanks.
if I can help, I play golf at one of y'all's tournament, I'll do that. You know what? I will take that. I will fall on the sword. I'll take
You don't want me
Okay.
as your teammate.
Yeah.
I will do awful. Oh, I'm down.
Awful.
I played with some bad teammates, buddy boy.
Really?
But it's always been a good time.
You haven't played with us yet.
Oh, it's always been a good time. All right, guys. Well, Dean, Keaton, thank you so much for joining us.
Of
And I
course.
guess we'll see you around. And if you need any well-set supervisors, call this guy.
Hopefully one day we will.